In this city, the dead outnumber the living by a factor of nearly 900 to 1. Welcome to Colma, California. In 2024, the town celebrated its 100-year anniversary with a handful of events, including a community fair and parade. So along with my friend Adam of the YouTube channel Adam Does Not Exist, I decided to pay Colma a visit. It's one of the nicest days here in the Bay Area this summer, and Adam and I are spending our Saturday afternoon here.
It's a Goldilocks day, John. It's not too hot, it's not too cool. It's a Saturday, it's July.
Yes.
And we are in a cemetery.
That's exactly where we are. I wanted to see where a few of the San Francisco Bay Area's most famous residents are buried. I also wanted to learn what it's like to live in a place where there are more dead residents than there are living, and if living in such a place impacted people's perception of death and dying. Colma is famously known as a city of souls. With 17 cemeteries, it has a rich history of serving as the final resting place for more than 1 million dead residents.
That is kind of interesting up there on the left. Pets Rest, the pet cemetery.
Oh yeah. I wonder how much those cost.
I actually looked online at the prices for a plot. It varies based on the size of the dog. So I think like a big dog would be like $900, and then there's an annual fee to maintain the site.
How did this small incorporated town just south of San Francisco come to be home to so many of the Bay Area's dead? Well, the story begins in 1849, when the California gold rush brought thousands of new people west. The growing population inevitably led to higher death rates in cities like San Francisco, where by the late 19th century, its cemeteries were reaching full capacity. Worries about health hazards turned public sentiment negative against the rising population of the city's dead residents. As a result, San Francisco banned new burials in 1901. Then in 1914, due to the need for development for its growing population, San Francisco decided to issue eviction notices to all of its existing cemeteries. So, for the next 30 years, many bodies and monuments of dead San Franciscans were transferred over to Colma. Like the rest of the United States, Colma enjoyed the post-war boom of the 1950s. The town offered inexpensive housing for veterans who started families after coming back to the States following the war. I met two women from Colma, named Etta and Susanna, who grew up there during that era. They both had fond memories of their childhoods, much of which were spent outside playing with friends, with very few boundaries. So would you guys play in the cemeteries?
I rode my bike in there, and I'd have picnics in there. Ride our bikes through. There was a shortcut that we would go when we go to the Italian cemetery. I would through the Italian cemetery. Get the bike through this real narrow way, but then we didn't have to go all the way around and go up the hill. So the duck ponds were part of the cemeteries, right? So there was one at the bottom of the hill here, and then the big one down at Cypress Lawn. Ducks galore. So if you ever had old bread or whatever, it was just a fun thing. You could take food and have a picnic, but you take bread, go down, feed the ducks.
It seems like, you guys had a relatively normal childhood. Like nothing out of the ordinary.
Specific to Colma, we played in the cemeteries. I had a friend who she'd come over, we'd go, and she'd go up to a mausoleum and she'd go, she'd, shake the doors.
It was never a scary thing. It was just, we just would be respectful. Like someone said, oh, you don't step on a stone, it's a sin. And my mom said, no, it's just disrespectful. So we would just never step on it. You go there, and I always liked seeing how old the people were.
Don't watch the grave.
So I'm really good at that now. When you see the two dates, the birth and death, I'm like, I figure out really quickly how old the person is, because I did that growing up. Then once in a while you see your name, like, oh, my name is on here, and then the Italian cemetery has a lot of photographs on theirs. So it was interesting. It was very peaceful, park-like. It was never scary to me or.
You see, I moved in when I was 9. It was scary. In fact, we moved in on Halloween.
Oh,
which was goofy, but But to me, it was spooky, and it was like on Halloween. We never went to F Street. That was too scary. And even the top of D has the Japanese cemetery on the other side. And we went halfway up D Street.
So what's it like to live in Colma today? Well, the town continues to house a small population of above-ground residents, about 1,700 people. And I spoke with two current residents named Kathleen and David, who've lived in town for nearly 40 years. So I'm curious, how did you end up here in Colma specifically?
We lived in San Francisco renting an apartment for 8 years in the Sunset, and we wanted to purchase a home, couldn't afford the city, heard that there was a possibility of a home in Colma, but thought it was all going to be surrounded by cemeteries. When we came here, we were apprehensive to leave the city. We didn't want to leave San Francisco. It was actually a bit of a bummer to think that we were going to leave the city to come to Colma. And now, after all these years, we're thrilled that it worked out this way. And we have two grown daughters, and they came home from the hospital to the home that they lived in their entire life until they left. They're coming back next week with all their husbands and our grandkids, and we'll spend a week here. It's a lot of great memories.
They love coming home. They live in other states now, so it's what they want to do on their vacation. They want to come here and
I imagine it's really cool to just have a taste, to be able to live in a small town here in the Bay Area, because you guys lived in San Francisco. That's a massive city, it's a metropolis, and to kind of have that kind of close-knit, tight community feel in an area like this must be refreshing.
We watch each other's homes, like a 4-way. We have a neighbor who comes in and gets our mail and has helped with things that have gone wrong while we're away. We share our plums with the neighbors, and they share things with us. Like I said, it's a very unique little community right in the middle of the urban Bay Area.
So right here in the middle, actually, of all of these cemeteries is a driving range. And Adam and I are hitting a couple balls right now. It's much better than me. But I thought I'd take a quick moment here in the break of this video to tell you I've started a newsletter. It's on Substack. You can subscribe to it at worldofnuance.com, because there's a lot of content that I capture here on World of Nuance that doesn't necessarily make it to the final cut. And I want to have a place where I can tell those stories to you. So it's an easier way for me to reach you directly. So make sure to subscribe to the World of Nuance newsletter, again, at worldofnuance.com. All right, so we're gonna head over to Joe DiMaggio's grave. We gotta go here in this area. This is around where his grave is.
I think we are on this road over here.
We're already on Old Mission.
Yeah.
So then we should just go on Old Mission and then enter through the main entryway.
Let's do it.
All right.
Holy Cross.
I bet you wouldn't be able to miss Joe DiMaggio's plot, because people just come there all the time.
You think so?
I was told that people leave baseball bats and other things. It's right there. You can see it right here. It's right over there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you could see it right. Well, we could just park right here and wait. I had no idea that Joe DiMaggio was buried here. I guess because I always associated him with the New York Yankees.
Go Yankees.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was actually from San Francisco.
Apparently it was in his will that he would have his funeral catered by a deli in North Beach.
Really?
Great deli.
You been there?
Many times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It looks so new.
I mean, the upkeep must be
99?
immaculate here,
Yeah.
because it's Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah. A lot of Little League balls. It's a tiny baseball.
I wonder why people leave change.
Yeah, I don't know. Wow. I guess 99 is not that long ago. It's
Only
kind of
25 years ago. I just think of him as like such a long time ago.
Yeah, me too.
But when did he play? In the 40s?
Yeah, around then.
Yeah, that seems
I
like
think.
such a long time ago. But he passed away, he was 85. He wasn't that old.
Yeah, he wasn't that old. Just feels like a different era.
Yeah. So behind me is the memorial of Lily Hitchcock Coit. If you're familiar with San Francisco at all, one of the city's most well-known attractions, Coit Tower, is named in her honor, and she's buried right here.
What do you think the ratio of like gravestones that exist in the world to living people is? So here it's like 1,000 to 1, but what is it worldwide?
I think the living outnumber the dead.
Really?
I think so, because the population is so much bigger now than it was like even 100 years ago.
That's true.
I would guess that. Because you're talking about gravestones as well. There's probably,
gravestones, yeah, different thing.
there's been millions, maybe billions of, I don't know, don't quote me on this, of people who have died over like millennia, right? But many of them weren't honored with proper burials and headstones. And
So you're asking like how many people have lived
yeah,
compared to how many people are living right now?
yeah, like
You
that.
think more people are alive right now than have lived?
No. I think that there are more people dead than there are living right now.
Okay.
But if we're just talking specifically honored with a gravestone
Yeah.
like this, I think
More.
that there are more people living.
I buy that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought exercise, though.
From the ground, it's really hard to show how big this actually is.
Yeah,
Just monuments in every direction for as far as you can see.
the drone really works well in showing you the magnitude of just how many people are buried here.
We should check out that one. That thing is enormous.
Yeah, curious about that. See anything?
William Cole and Sarah Cole, native of Pennsylvania, both of them.
The bigger the mausoleum, the more likely it is to be the person we're looking for. Yes,
Good
we
call.
were correct.
Yeah,
Levi Strauss.
works every time. Think they put jeans in there?
That'd be amazing if there was like a pair of
That
jeans.
would be
on-
cool.
Looks like the mother is buried in there. Louis Strauss, Rebecca Strauss.
Levi Strauss, there he is on the left. The bottom one on the left.
See, and I wonder how many people still visit these graves. How many of their families are still alive? They're probably living, but then maybe they don't even know these members of their family.
They might not. I mean, Josephine Gonzalez died in 1912. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time for relatives to care.
Now, death happens to be one of the few things we are certain about with life. It's a scary thought for most people, but it's a reality that none of us can avoid. Before coming to Colma, I wondered if living in a place like this forces residents to confront their mortality more often than the average person. And if so, how did this impact their perspective on facing the end of their lives?
I was talking to someone the other day about that, saying that actually we live now, our backyard looks onto the Golden Gate National Cemetery. And when we looked at the house, I'm like, oh, cool. Doesn't bother me at all. Very peaceful. And, you know, he said the lawn's always green. The neighbors are quiet. Dead quiet. And you know, no, not in ours. They have to come across and go, and so we're good with that.
Okay.
But it's, and then my husband goes, you know, you just look, and these are all people who served in the military and their families. So it's like an honor. Both our fathers served in the military. It's never, No, it's never been a scary, it's just been like, yeah, this is the fact of life. When you're a young kid, you see these people born and they died, and it just was, yeah, never a scary thing at all.
And I ended up working for the Neptune Society, and I worked for Olivet out here. So, and it was, and I never went to a funeral here. It was really weird. I was in the office and I was busy, but, you know, then there's stuff cruising through all the time. And when I was selling, I was like saying, hey, last things first, get it done, get it taken care of, and then you don't have to worry about it.
I think it's easier for us, but just because it's right here, it's right, you know, so most people might not go drive to a cemetery to do that. But that, even if we want to just take a walk, we're in it.
Yeah.
You know, but no, and well, we're actually Christians, so we don't fear death. That actually, when the time comes, it'll be a good thing. So we don't. There's nothing morbid to us about it.
It's more a novelty, or, you know, how many people can say that they live in the cemetery capital of the world, and, you know, people come and visit here. One of the cemeteries has Tiffany glass mausoleum, beautiful stonework, you know, for monuments and famous people. So it's more of a novelty than something morbid.
So that's the end of the video. I would love to know what you think. Would you live here in Colma, California? Let me know in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you enjoyed my video about Colma, you need to check out Adam's channel for his video about Colma too.